If evening, comrades, I hope you are okay. Ngabuto Nicholas Mabena, we agreed that we are going to meet at 8 p.m. for our evening discussion. We are discussing how we should conduct ourselves as migrants in South Africa. When I asked earlier in the day to say, what topic should we discuss? One comrade raised this topic, and we thought it's an important topic that we should discuss. My voice is not that good. The flu has been trying to attack me, but it has not been successful because I use all those concoctions, the garlic, the ginger, lemon, honey, wara. So it has not been successful, but it was the flu was trying to attack me. This is why I have a hoarse voice. Hoarse. I'm not sure of the correct pronunciation. Right. What we are discussing. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm unable because my eyes, so my laptop is refusing. I can't use my laptop for these discussions, so I use my small phone. I think you have seen in the videos when I then circulate them. I use my small phone, and you also see that I have small eyes. So when you type, unlike you on when I host a live on YouTube, I'm unable to read what you are typing. But I will try my level best so that we keep these discussions as much lively in terms of engagement as possible. We are, the majority of us, we are migrants in South Africa. Of course, people have acquired different legal documents to be in the country. There are some who are now citizens of South Africa through naturalization. We have discussed this. There are some who are on permanent residence. There are some that are using mainstream visas, be it work, business, study, whatever visas that they are using. There are, of course, those that are under special permits in South Africa. There are those, of course, who have acquired refugee status. We have also discussed in this platform how one acquires a refugee status. So we do have those that carry that refugee ID. I think it's brownish. There are others, of course, that are using asylum documents. All these are legal documents which allow one to be in the country. But of course, the reality also is that there are those that are not documented in South Africa. So the discussion is not about how to acquire a document or how to legalize your stay. If you need more information on that, trust me, all your questions on documentation, almost the majority of your questions on documentation are answered in my YouTube channel. We have recorded so many videos on documentation. In some cases, we do repeat based on the questions that the people ask, but we think we have done a lot around that. But the issue which we are discussing is about our conduct. How do we behave in a foreign country? As I've already said, that we are migrants. We are not born in South Africa. Yes, you might have acquired South African citizenship. Good luck to you. But the majority have not attained that. While we are protected by the South African Constitution in terms of our rights, that migrants have rights, but there is also something that we need also to understand, that we need to behave in a particular way so that we have this good relationship with the locals. There are some local South Africans that do not understand why some of us are in South Africa. I've been involved in some organizations that have been trying to raise awareness to the South African community in terms of them understanding the push factors. What is it that is pushing us from our countries to South Africa? I've seen in the most of cases that when we engage with South Africans, when we discuss push factors, you get sympathy from some. Of course, there are some that will not sympathize with you, even if you are running away from a war-torn country like, say, eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. You will have such people that will say, no, why did you jump Zambia? Why did you jump Zimbabwe? And why did you jump Botswana and they came to South Africa? There are those that will raise such issues. But there are some that who happen to be in the majority that understand once you engage them in terms of the push factors. But what is then critical, something that we need then to discuss this evening, is then our conduct as migrants. We have been accepted in South Africa. I've spoken of a number of documents that makes one legal. We have been accepted. How then do we conduct ourselves? We always say that crime is not nationality, right? It has no nationality. Anyone can be a victim of crime. I've been a victim of crime, I think 3 times at gunpoint, twice in Hillbrow, and the other time was at Baklu, just outside Woodmead, at gunpoint. The 4th time at knife point, the last time. So crime affects all of us. It has no nationality. Some South Africans do commit crime. Some migrants do commit crime. Some South Africans are victims of crime. Some migrants are victims of crime as well. Crime has no color, black, white, Indian, colored, is the same. It has no color, it has no nationality. But what we try to do, which is my first point, is that as migrants, we must try our level best not to be involved in criminal activities. Because when you are being hosted in a country and you begin to belong to criminal gangs, the underground, it then paints all of us as criminals. If we don't talk openly about these things, it then appears as if all of us support crime. Like I have said that we are victims, some of us are victims of crime, right? So if we are migrants, we must try our level best to desist from any criminality. If we are to live in peace with the local South Africans, government can do what it has done in terms of, particularly with the 178,000 ZTP holders, in terms of understanding the plight, because in 2010 there was political instability in Zimbabwe. The inclusive government was just in place. The economy was in shambles. There was a cholera in Harare, and then trying to give solidarity, particularly to the people of Zimbabwe. Then the government, without necessarily consulting citizens, because if there was a referendum to say, should we grant Zimbabweans special permits or not, the majority were going to say, no, don't do that. But the government took a bold decision. The South African government said, it understood solidarity. And in terms of granting solidarity to the people of Zimbabwe, practical solidarity for that matter, it had to roll out the special permits, which many who are following in this channel or in this discussion benefited from it. So how then do we repay the South African government? So the first thing is that we must desist from criminal activity. I know we've spoken about this and we've been threatened, especially myself. I was threatened when a video was circulating when we were talking about the crime, because we know a lot of people in our communities where we live that have been victims of crime. Some of you here, you have been victims of crime. You might have been hijacked. And I'm not saying you were hijacked by a migrant, no. You might have been hijacked by a South African. You might have been hijacked by a migrant. Someone might have taken your phone, right? I saw the other day at the High Court, just outside the High Court, it was around 5 p.m. Still, the sky was clear and people were moving up and down. Some people just grabbed the guy, pinned him on the ground. They took his belongings. We couldn't do anything because all of us were scared to intervene. Right? So you might have been a victim of crime yourself. No one enjoys becoming a victim of crime. So the first point is that let us as migrants let us stay away from criminal activities so that we are accepted in communities. We become a part of the people that declare war on criminals. Point number 2, that as migrants we must do, we must please keep our communities clean. I see my brother Chester Dube is here. We're together before he traveled. We're together in Brother in Christ Church, and they will argue and say cleanness is next to godliness. You can't be a Christian and be dirty. I'm sure Comrade Chester Dube agrees with me. And as communists, we say you can't be a communist and not be clean. So it's important that we keep our places clean. If you are working in the streets as a hawker, you are selling vegetables, it's important that when you knock off, you clean where you work, so that we keep our places clean. Our office is in central Johannesburg. When you go out maybe to buy lunch or going out just to take a walk, you see someone smartly dressed is eating a banana, smartly dressed. Once they have peeled off, they just throw the banana peel in the streets. But they just 20 meters away, there's a dustbin. They can't hold amakase orange and they throw them in a dustbin. Just throw in the streets. Who is going to clean? So it's important that someone goes to a butchery, they buy meat, they have a receipt, they check their receipt, then they throw it in the streets. So as migrants, we must keep our places clean. At some point, I remember we once tried to have to organize brooms, work with the Pick It Up to clean Hillbrow, but we didn't go far. I've seen some organizations, even the Office Lenkosi, Ubulelane, Kalopengula, they once had this program of cleaning. I'm not sure if they are still doing the cleaning, but it's important that in areas where we stay, we must ensure that our places are clean as migrants. But there's no place for migrants, right? Naturally, there's an area where there's a high population of migrants in a particular area. So in such an area, let's work with the locals, local South Africans, form this partnership and clean our places. We spoke about urinating in the streets. You know, when you walk, especially men, when you walk in the CBD, you walk in New Vale, in Hebrew, you are walking with your wife, with your sister, with your daughter. Just someone just next to you decides to open their zip and begin to urinate. You see, that's something else. Akubusisekanga lokho masingakhuluma ngesiKristu. You can't just open your zip and just urinate in the streets. When you can simply pay R2 to use a toilet which is available, or you can get into a bar and relieve yourself than simple throwing in the streets. That's not the cleanness. So it's important that we clean. My point number 3, which is linked to point number 1, is that it's important that we respect the laws of South Africa. We are in South Africa. We are under the South African Constitution. It's important that we respect the laws of South Africa. We promote Ubuntu. Some of us, in a bid to generate more content, and in the last 48 hours, I've been thinking about this issue of content, and the conclusion that I came to was that maybe we should not blame content creators. We should blame their consumers, the consumers, because if mina qala ukukhuluma into ebhedayo, right, lingilandele kakhulu, because these days Facebook pays angithi, if a content creator realizes that nxa ekhuluma into nje ngabantu abajolayo, into ezingazifani, abe ngumthunyo, you follow, the person will simply keep on doing that because he's enjoying those likes, is enjoying attention, right? Because it means society likes what this person does. Then in the name of content, you are now doing this, usuhlambalaza, ususenzani. Kati abantu bona vele bathanda umuntu ohlambalazayo. That's very bad. So ama content creators, they study us consumers ukuthi kuyini esikuthandayo. Abantu bethanda inhlamba, ukhuluma inhlamba, bayakulandela abagcwale so because bathanda inhlamba. Kulabanye abantu abangeke bona inhlamba bayikhuluma, but bayayithanda nxa ikhulunywa ngomunye umuntu. Angithi. So this is why uthola ukuthi abantu abakhuluma into zokujola, into zobufebe, into ezingane zinjani uthole bayalandela. Because of that, to an extent ukuthi such individuals then end up insulting South Africans. It's very bad. Right? For instance, I saw another video, someone who was saying ukuthi, hey, tamakore sihambe tina asindawo. We are being arrogant. And this person, ngakhona ukhana uchiloyo, he has received so much views, and they are smiling to the bank because we like such, and this person will continue doing so. Nxa ukuthi lakho necachile will continue doing such. So we have seen in social media abantu bekhuluma nje izinto la uzibona kodwa la uzibuza ukuthi kanti umuntu lo into ayibhalayo ulabantwana. Nxa labantwana abantu abakhe bathini. But you then check ama likes. Awuzabona obaba abafundisi thina sekupolitika ama political leaders o chairman bezigaba bonke belandela. Usuzikade vele kwenzakalana. So it's important that we need to bring back issue of our morals. The question of morals is important. How do we use social media so that we build cohesion between ourselves as migrants and the South Africans. The last point that ends ukuthi ngifake, of course, some of us we are lucky because of course there's no language okuthiwa isinguni, right? But kulama languages, isiNdebele, isiZulu, isiSwati, isiXhosa, all fall under Manguni, right? Language ongathi it's a Nguni language, right? Which it is the majority spoken, the majority speak or understand these Nguni languages. You will go to KZN isiZulu. So if I go to KZN ngiyacommunicate kuhle anginankinga. Yebo, of course amanye amagama kodwa ngabe ngikhulumela isiZulu sami, angithi nesindebele sami sembizingwe emzingwane babe ngizwa nabo, angithi ngihamba kwaMhlanga lapho emvamisa ukuya khona eMpumalanga bakhuluma isindebele, lobe isindebele sala eSouth Africa singane si different kancane kulesethu, mbe si different kakhulu lesethu, kodwa siyaxoxa nje besizwana. Ngaye Eastern Cape same thing. But there are other migrants that are not as lucky as us of the Nguni stock, if I were to use that phrase. It's important that when you're in a foreign country, you learn the local language. I'm impressed, though I always then question. But let me start with the positive. I'm impressed that when Zimbabweans of Shona origin arrive in the Eastern Cape, Western Cape, they master isiXhosa. Every time I speak to them every day, because I deal with the Zimbabweans, with migrants on a daily basis, I speak with them every day. They'll be speaking to me in Xhosa. At some point, I'll be thinking to maybe lana mina ngikhuluma lo mXhosa. Hayi, ngithi kusemberengwa athi ukuthi kwaGutu eRusape. Then I ask, how do you learn isiXhosa? Which to me, isiXhosa is a bit difficult, right? Though I'm of a Nguni stock. Then I ask, how did you learn isiXhosa? But that's very positive. That's very positive. So it's important that when you live in a community, you need to master the local language. I have seen it. You know, you phone a government department. The moment you communicate in English, yes, lokhu zen acceptance yankonti yebo liyakhuluma, but when you then speak the local language, if you are speaking to a black person, the local language, you say there's this chemistry over the phone nxa likhuluma ukuthi this person okhuluma la feels ukuthi you are part of them. Lokhana siyake sikuzwe ukuthi abantu bona bafuna ukuthi bazikhethe. They want to in the name of promoting their language, want their language to dominate in an area lapha bafike khona, not want to learn the local language. So I thought ukuthi it's these are the 4 points that as migrants we should observe so that we build social cohesion, because we did not come to South Africa to compete with South Africans. We came to South Africa because we have problems. Some people came to South Africa because they were abused by their governments. Some people ran away from a war situation in their own countries of birth, right? Some people, because they were discriminated on the basis of religion or on the basis of their ethnicity, they were discriminated. And they saw no opportunities in their countries of origin. They then arrived in South Africa. The government of South Africa accepted them, right? Made it at least, not to use the word easy, made it possible for them to live in South Africa by applying for these many documents that I spoke about earlier on. So It's therefore important that we then return this favor. Maybe some of you might not agree that a favor, but let me say the conditions. If we are granted such conditions, we need then to behave ourselves. For instance, the last thing, there's the issue of 90 days, right? That when you are visiting, you can stay for 3 months without anyone questioning you. Of course, we know then there are those corrupt officers who then want to intimidate you, force you to pay a bribe. We've got only 90 days with Torenjane border, but the 90 days is there, is adopted by the South African government. So as I'm summarizing now, I'm saying we've been accepted by the South African government. As migrants, one, let us do our best to desist from criminal activities. Let us earn our living through hard work, through innovation. Kuna migrants that at 4 a.m. they will wake up, go to the market to stock veggies and they sell, right? Some people, they work long hours. There are people that are running businesses in South Africa successfully. So that's what we need to do. We should desist from getting involved in criminality. We should keep our places clean in our communities, make sure that we clean our places. We do not just urinate all over. We use public toilets. Let us respect the laws of South Africa and promote Ubuntu. Let us behave as a people and build this social cohesion, and let's learn the local languages. Nyabonga kakhulu. Thank you so much. Tomorrow we might not meet, or we'll meet earlier, because we are told that all of us must watch Chelsea tomorrow. Otherwise, thank you so much. Good night, comrades. It was nice having a discussion with yourself. I will read through the comments and I will then respond if necessary. Thank you so much. Good night.